Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we start the broadcast today by popular demand after yesterday's little experiment of doing it from the studio, actually doing it outside of the studio and going back on the balcony. And I thought, first of all, I would show you the Valentine's Day card that the lovely Lady Jane made me for Valentine's Day because basically... got nothing else to do, can't go to any shops to get anything. Well, Jane doesn't like to go to the shops to get anything. And so she made this Valentine's Day card from paper and stickers. And that's the reason why she wanted a stencil, was so that she could do the Happy Valentine's with a stencil. I thought she wanted a stencil to basically do something with her spreadsheets, but I bought her a stencil as a present, actually. But anyway, there you go. That's what you do in lockdown. You get inventive, like the old Blue Peter. All we needed was the glitter and the glue, but we didn't go that far. And that is the card that I got for Jane. It wasn't really a Valentine's Day card, but it was just something in the spirit of Valentine's Day. Always better together. And I think that is very, very true. Always better together. And that's Jane's card there. And there's my card there, which I bought a silly amount of money, but I won't go into that, but it doesn't matter. So you can't get things like that very easily here in Greece. So that's another trade-off for living in Greece, is getting hold of cards is expensive. So there you go. Right, let's go back outside then. Nice to see people looking in. Hilary Rogers, lovely to see you. John Mims is looking in as well. The weather today, well, what can I say about the weather today? It is absolutely humongous. And guess what? We've actually had snow here in Zakynthos. Yeah, we haven't had it where we live, but I will be telling you all about the snow as part of the news report. And all of a sudden... it started to chuck it down with rain again, looking over the hills towards Amber Lockerbie and also down to Kerry. You could see the mist on the hills up there. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually see some snow on the hills. Just zoom in up there. You probably can't see this on your screens, but actually looking with the naked eye, Mark 1 eyeball, yes, you can see snow on the hills behind us. I've only just noticed that. Jean Baker's looking in over there from Kefalonia. I bet you've got loads of snow where you are at the moment, Jean. No, she says, have no snow at home, but they have snow in Kefalonia. I knew they'd have snow. They always have snow in Kefalonia because they got such a high mountain there. So anyway, there you go. That's the look. And look, you're even losing sight of the hills as I do this report. So anyway, that's the view from over there. Do you know what? I don't think I'm even going to bother looking towards Kalamaki because it's raining at the moment again, and it's chucking it. Well, not chucking it, but it's getting that way. But anyway, so there you go. That's the weather at the moment. Let's look from the balcony here, just out. All the chickens and that seem to be quite happy in the weather. They're not all. The thing about chickens, when the weather goes bad, they climb into the trees actually and get themselves out of the way. But they're all out still at pecking. They're getting a bit naughty these days as well, I've got to be honest, the old chickens. But anyway, there you go. That's the weather. And looking out towards Sillaby at the moment. Ooh, it's looking grim in that direction as well. So let's just zoom out and let's get back to the news, because there's been quite a bit been going on as well. So anyway, hi, how you doing? That's me again. Right then, let's have a look at the stories for today then. February the 15th, believe it or not, and it's a Monday, beginning of the week, and it's day 101 of the lockdown. Big shout out to Gary and Heather, because Gary goes back to work today in the UK. He's been up at 6 o'clock this morning to get himself there. So some people are back to work this morning as well. Right, COVID in the last 24 hours is as follows. Now, the numbers have been going down. Yesterday, you may report, I reported we had 1,122 new infections recorded across Greece yesterday. Well, today it is 662. That puts the grand total since the pandemic started to 172,128, of which 52% of those are male. 2 cases were identified coming into the country. and that was down from 8 on the previous day. Now, according to the national stats yesterday, again, the national stats, there were 7 new cases in Kefalonia. Again, I can't find 7 cases in Kefalonia. There were also no new cases in Corfu, and Zakynthos supposedly had 4 new cases, and again, locally reported. I've only been able to find 1 new case in the last 24 hours. Now, that one case was a 25-year-old woman who reported to the hospital suffering from mild symptoms of the virus. She was tested, found to be positive, and she has been sent home for home quarantine, and obviously all her contacts are being traced. Now, according to my reckoning at the moment, Zakynthos has had 80 positive cases since the beginning of the year. That's people who have tested positive, who have undergone some form of treatment, gone into home quarantine. And this month alone, we've had 43 cases for the month of February of people who've tested positive and have had some form of treatment. Now, it's interesting. I don't know whether people are now starting to question the figures that the National Health are putting out every night. Because I did notice today when going through the actual Greek newspapers here for the island that the Emira newspaper decided to start doing a tot-up of the figures for Zakynthos for the month of February. Now, their tot-up figures is different to mine. Now, they're saying that there's been 56 people who've tested positive. And had, well, they've said there's 56 people who've tested positive. I'm saying that there's been 43 for February. And looking through the fine detail of what they've done, all they have done is cut and pasted the numbers from the national and put them all together, which, to be honest, is not the way I personally would do those figures. I would do those figures as of those people who've been to the hospital, had treatment, had been found to be asymptomatic and then gone home. Now, they do say that they are investigating 8 cases, all right, because, again, we have false positives, etc. And, again, false positives are not being highlighted. You might test positive on one test and then do the next test and be found that you are actually clear. So at the moment, according to my figures, and I'm sticking with my figures at the moment, it's 43 cases for this month of February up until yesterday of people on the island who have tested positive, been to the hospital, been seen by someone, and then obviously been sent home to home quarantine or have been told to stay in the hospital for further observation. But at the moment, the local newspaper, one of them, the Emira, has said 56, and all they've done is basically took all the daily tots from the Greek health and just added them all up, which, to be honest, is in my book not right. It's wrong. All right. So again, those people who are questioning the figures, do the homework, look through the figures, question the numbers that you're given, because again, false positives are going into these lists. And there's no verification there as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to look at that over the next few days and see how that goes. Right now, as for deaths across Greece in the last 24 hours, we've had 23 new deaths across Greece. That is up from that is down from 26 on the previous day. 6,126 people have passed away since the pandemic started. The average age of those people was 79 years of age. 95.4% had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And also, if you think of the death rate back in 2019, the average death rate for Greece before the advent of coronavirus was 329 deaths a day. So 20 deaths on top of that isn't a great deal in the realm of things. Anyway, the gender of fatalities at the moment, we've had 3,574 males have passed away and 2,503 females have passed away since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, for critical cases at the moment, Critical cases are up ever so slightly across Greece. I did report to you on St. Valentine's Day that we had 300 critical cases. This morning, the number is up to 301, of which 205 are male and 96 are female. Now, I have a feeling that that number has been corrected, because I did say to you yesterday, by my reckoning of their maths was wrong. They had the maths yesterday at 300, and all of a sudden they found one other and it's gone up, all right? So again, maybe somebody's listening out there and they're correcting their maths, all right? But anyway, so the average age of those people in critical care at the moment is 68, 86.5 have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. Right then. Oh, the big story of the day at the moment, I think, is the bad weather at the moment. Bad weather of Medea, which has made its way to Zakynthos and also to Kefalonia, with snowfall in the mountains. And yes, we've had snowfall here in Zakynthos. You've just seen the hills behind us over the back there. But in the early hours of this morning, villages here on Zakynthos, including Kiliamenos, Ios Leon, Anaphanetra, Othamius, and also Volymes, they've had problems with the roads, believe it or not. I was looking at the photographs this morning, and I wouldn't call it like snow as in lovely romantic dusting of snow. I would call it more of low-level snow that's turned to sludge within a few hours. It hasn't settled in the true way, but technically it's snow, all right? So it looks horrible at the moment. Anyway, in first light, crews of the regional unit of the of Zakynthos municipality, they were out on the roads, gritting the roads and clearing the way through to the villages. It seems the biggest problem at the moment have been located in the villages of Ios Leon. They having problems there with the roads, and also the road between Othios and Volymes. They've also had a lot of snow up there, and they've been out there with the diggers and the gritters trying to clear that area. So they were out there in the early hours of this morning clearing that all up, and the pictures of them at work look pretty impressive. So you want to see the photographs, go and check them out on Hermes News. They've got some nice pictures of the snow up there. Now, interestingly, last night while I was writing some of the news, schools are now closed for 2 days here due to the cold weather caused by the storm. This was decided last night, so a lot of the kids at the moment are still at home. Primary education, kindergartens, primary schools and secondary education, plus the gymnasiums and lyceums are going to remain closed from Monday through till Tuesday, and obviously from that day on they're going to have a look at that as well. Anyway, meteorologists say cold weather front Medea is increasing, making its presence felt by expanding into southern Greece. Meteorologists warn that the northern central Macedonia region snowfall countries has abated, and according to local authorities, but frost will settle in and make the roads treacherous. And I think that is what we're looking at the moment, is more frost making the roads treacherous. I did see some reports of people slipping over in some areas as well. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that as well and see how things go. At the moment, another interesting story that I picked up on the moment is crime here on the island. More concerns from the residents of the neighbourhoods of Gerakario and Alykanas, since they're now getting burglaries there at the moment. Now, the local press here, the Emira, has been talking to local residents, so I'm taking these words from there. Cases of burglary in 2 houses are increasing. They're saying that unknown people have hit several properties, with residents being scared but also indignant at what's happening. In other words, they're not happy with the police at the moment in that location. Now, they're saying at the moment it's characteristic that most residents express their concern about the continuous burglaries by strangers who do not hesitate to break into cars to grab anything valuable. Now, Robert Thessas, who is a permanent resident of Alykanas and also works in Kato Gerakario, said that this morning he went to his car. I found that the driver's window had been broken. From there and beyond came 2 other people who suffered the same damage in the area of Alykanas. We worry and feel insecure. We have stated what has happened at the Katastari Police Department also, he says. He says the burglaries, as the residents say, do not stop anywhere, and they have attacked houses. That's their wording, okay? And they are next to each other as well. He says another resident, Mr. Dionis Malapas, who is also a resident of Gerakario, he also points out there is concern. I had my mind all night. And I fly in case someone is there. We are upset. The police's next thing is they have to do something. Anyway, residents on the border area between Gerakario and Alykanas, they also stated to the Emira newspaper that perpetrators go to homes and businesses in order to violate them. Germanis Maripolis also said to the paper, below they stole pastry below a house of a grandmother who lived, and she saw them in Gerakario. They broke into the house again. It's becoming doom. These things this thing is we do not know what will happen. Specifically, I wake up at 2:30 to 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and should I take the law into my own hands, he's saying. He, like other residents of the surrounding area, are expressing their concerns about what is happening, and they basically want the police to help. So there you go. For people who are living up the north end of the island, please be aware that there are people out and about. We have this problem in the winter. It's not uncommon that we have crime in the winter months. People obviously getting desperate, people running out of money. There are some people who probably are desperate, running out of money. I'm not condoning this in any way, and obviously go out and rob and steal. All right. So once again, it's interesting to see where are the police. We're supposed to have a curfew from 6 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. So keeping track on people should be very, very easy for the police to be able to stop people and say, why are you on the road? What are you doing? Why are you out at this time of night? And be able to help people. But as Jane maybe said, what's happening with the police at the moment? How many of the police are still effective at the moment? Because how many of them have maybe in home quarantine because they come into contact with somebody who's had coronavirus? We don't know that, and the police know that. But at the moment, especially in the Katastari area, the police don't seem to be out and about as much as they should be. However, in Zakynthos, they're all too busy doing people for not wearing masks and having more than 2 people in a car and breaking the curfew. So other crime is going on around that. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. And also, if you're somebody in Katastari or in Alykanas or any of those areas that's been affected by what's been going on, let me know. Let me know what's happening, and let's just warn people to be aware. I know in the past we've had people get in touch and say, be on the lookout for a white van or be on the lookout for so-and-so in this type of car, just so people can obviously keep an eye. And the old Citizens Watch, I do know there was a bit of a Citizens Watch going on for a while in certain parts of the northern part of the island where people did feel a bit vulnerable because they're just way out from anywhere, all right? And this is something that a lot of these robbers do, is they target isolated places because they know they can basically get away with it. And there's a lot of properties here that lie empty in the winter because the owners are not here on the island, they're away in other places. But anyway, let's move on. Anyway, more news regards COVID. Researchers at the University of Nottingham in the UK are developing a COVID-19 vaccine that targets the internal structure of the virus that doesn't mutate, as well as the surface spike protein. If successful, this would end the need to keep revising vaccines to keep up with the new variants of the virus. And already we are seeing how the virus is mutating. Even here in Greece, it's mutated. We've got the English variant now, and we've had one case so far of the South African variant as well. The problem with the English variant, that's been reported in Patra. So maybe it'll just be a matter of time before it will probably end up here or on Kefalonia. We shall wait and see how that moves. But anyway, seems that people are working still to find better vaccines and vaccines that will work for all and sundry. I think, to be honest, this is going to be like the flu. You're probably going to end up having, once everything settles down, it will be an annual thing to get a COVID jab, like you would have a flu jab. We're just changing the name from flu to COVID. And what is flu? A form of COVID, basically. So anyway, we shall wait and see how that all plays out. And finally, some fantastic news this morning. Oh, I've got such a lovely story for you. A survey conducted by the condom manufacturer Durex, which analysed the habits of people from 26 different nations, have given their results today. And the results show that Greeks have sex the most frequently. I thought that will make people's eyebrows shoot up. Yet nearly 30,000 people from countries across the world participated in the research. They shared the details regarding their sexual health, including how often they had intercourse and how satisfied they were with their sex lives. So let's find out what was going on there then, shall we? Well, topping the list is Greece, yes, where an impressive 89% of adults say they have sex at least once a week. There we go. Now, I like this little line here. Whether it's the beautiful landscape, the warm culture, or the attractive population, there's undoubtedly something in the air in Greece that brings people together. Well, at the moment, it's bloody freezing. It's grim and dark. And yes, it's all about the partner you're with. And I think my partner is very attractive. All right. So there you go. Anyway, following Greece, guess who's next on the list? It's Brazil. Yeah, get a lot of coconuts in Brazil. Anyway, there are 85% of adults there say they have sex at least once a week. And then guess who the next lot are who had sex a lot? Yeah, it's Russia. Yeah, Russia, where 80% of the respondents claim they make love weekly. I think more of that is because it's cold, and they get together because it's cold, and there's nothing much on the telly there. We always have this impression of Russia being very grim and very horrible. So anyway, and when asked if sex is an integral part of health and well-being, 91% of Brazilians agreed, and 86 of Greeks actually agreed with that. They say, we strongly agree, indicating sex-positive mindsets in those countries. We know what the Greeks are like in the summer. And they also measured how long each session lasts as well by country. They found that Nigerians and Greeks have sex for the longest period, with an average timing of about 21 minutes in both countries. When I said a long session, I thought it would be, at least an hour, of, the foreplay, getting in the mood, because that's all part of the ritual, isn't it, of sex, 21 minutes, that's not even the length of a 1970s situation comedy, is it? But anyway, so they say they last 21 minutes in both of those countries. When they asked about their level of sexual satisfaction, Nigerians are reported to be the happiest with their sex lives, at 67% of Nigerians who are extremely satisfied with their sex lives, followed by Mexico. No, that's interesting. India and Poland. They're also a happy lot as well. And they come on holiday a lot here. So maybe when they get into Greece, it perks them up a bit as well. Anyway, ranking fifth on the list, at 54%, were Greeks who reported the same level of satisfaction as well. And on the other end of the survey, which is also interesting as well, Japan is the most sexless country as well, where just 34% of people have sexual intercourse. Now, this is actually quite true. Actually, Japan at the moment, and also when you look at their COVID stats as well, Japan's COVID rate is very, very low because they're a very, very insular society. At the moment, young Japanese men are more interested in an artificial girlfriend than they are in a real girlfriend. Their actual birth rate in the last 10 years has declined rapidly, and also they are basically automating everything in Japan because they don't have the people to do the work. The schools are closing because there is no children, and also the Japanese do not like immigration, and that's the reason where in most countries you bring immigrants immigrants in to do work where you can't find people to fill jobs. In Japan, it's the total opposite. They'd rather automate than bring people in from outside. And at the moment, there's serious questions about the future of Japan because their actual population is declining rapidly at the moment. Anyway, additionally, for the figure way, how satisfied are the Japanese with their sex lives? Only 15% are satisfied. I think they'd rather play with their Nintendo or PS or their, was it the old Gamamuchi, whatever they used to have, those little toy animal things they used to play with as well. Anyway, this may also, they've actually said here, this may be partially explained by the fact that Japan consistently reports some of the longest working hours in the world, leaving little time for intimacy, but there's also other things on top of that as well. Anyway, and surprisingly, the US actually ranks just above Japan. The Americans aren't up to much either in the terms of frequency. Maybe it's having Donald Trump as president for the last 4 years has probably took a bit of the shine off things as well. Also, the election has also been causing a bit of a problem as well. Anyway, 53% of American respondents reporting making love just once a week. So there we go. It's not all happening in America. That is for sure. Right, already I can see lots of comments in the chat area and also some controversial comments as well, maybe. So I'm going to quickly just have a quick look through what's been said. Alf Ling is watching. Nice to see you there. Jan Morrison up the mountain is there. Are you snowed in, or have you got a little bit of snow up where you live, Jan? Because I know you're slightly higher than us where you live, and looking at the hill behind where you are, there's obviously a bit of snow up there. So we're keen to know what it's like up where you are. Well, it's just all sludge around there. Jerry Coyle is watching as well. Nice to see you. Delia's tuning in as well. Nice to see you tuning in. Raina Pete Dillon is watching as well. Wiggy Winstanley is also watching in. Nice to see you, Wiggy, over there in Cyprus. They always have snow in Cyprus, up in the Troodos Mountains, where you can go skiing in the morning, and then in the afternoon you can go down to the lower levels of the place and go for a nice dip in the Mediterranean. So anyway, nice to have you looking in. Hilary Rogers is watching up the top end of the island as well. I'm not sure if you've been affected by some of the crime and some of the problems going on up there, Hilary. Just let me know if you've had any issues on that score. John Mims is watching as well. Sean Gray is watching as well. Carol Davis is watching. Jean Baker says, what you? I'll probably find out more because I know Jean's been writing away furiously. Jean says, have no snow at home, but they have snow in Kefalonia. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've had snow here. That's probably the reason. Wiggy says, morning from Wigan Ambassador. I'm in Cyprus. Yes, I like that title, the Wigan Ambassador. Yes, old Wiggy, the Wigan Ambassador in Cyprus. Nice to see you. I hope you tuned in to me, the Northern Soul show yesterday on Beats Radio, but probably you didn't. But anyway, Andrew the Fridge Watkins is tuning in as well. Steve Hinklin is watching over there in Stoke-on-Trent. Steve says, Gallimera, it nearly looked better weather in the UK today. Oh, nearly better weather. Well, I can tell you now, the weather here we got and is horrible at the moment. Anyway, Rainer Pete Dillon says, morning, Ginge, temperatures getting rapidly warmer here. Okay, fair enough. I wish they were here because I'm actually sat here feeling a bit shivery at the moment. Paula Carterton is looking in. Paul Holroyd is looking in as well. Joe Reddit in the Irish Republic is looking in as well. How are things over in Ireland at the moment, me old buddy? He works a bit for the Irish government, so he's keeping an eye on what's going on. But nice to see you here, Joe. Simon Burns is watching as well. Paul Fleming is watching as well. Maria Hadelberg is probably laughing at us at the moment in Sweden. This is nothing. This is nothing. We're minus 15 at the moment. This is nothing. Well, yeah, your blood's thicker than ours at the moment. All our blood is all thinned at the moment with the warmer climate that we're used to. But anyway, nice to have you tuning in. Susie Angus is watching as well. Nice to see you there. Paul Green is watching as well. Jean Baker says, yes, we had 7 reported in Kefalonia. We've around 25 cases in the last week or so. Cheers for that, Jean. One thing I've got to point out is this, we had a report last week that we had 9 cases, all right? Now, the point was, when you actually start checking the local papers, you start looking at who has gone to the hospital for treatment, who's been actually being treated, the numbers can be a lot lower. One thing that this is the thing that I keep questioning this is that people read the headline, but they don't look at the detail. And I've got to be honest, I've only cursorily looked at the news of Kefalonia to get a sound off as to the reporting in comparison to here in Zakynthos. And I've got to be honest, there's a lot of what I would feel is kind of lazy reporting, all right? It's very easy just to cut and paste national statistics, bung it in the paper and put a headline saying 9 cases reported in Zakynthos in one day. But the reality is when you start looking at the amount of people going to the hospital, the amount of people actually reporting having the virus, then you get a true feeling of what actually is really on the island. You've got to remember, somebody may have an AMCA number which puts them as a resident of Zakynthos but live up in, say, Athens or Thessaloniki and there. And where does the number go for the positive? Not on their stat total, but on our stat total. And this is one of those things where people have to realise that the numbers that the government give, take those with a pinch of salt. Really do take those with a pinch of salt. Look at what your local press are saying for the people that have arrived at the hospital. And please, the reporters here on the island, question some of these numbers that are being put out by the national government. Ask where these people are. You said we have 9 people. Where are these 9 people? The hospital has said has only seen 2. So are these people wandering around somewhere, not realising that they're positive, asymptomatic? Because again, we need to know, and it needs to be accurate. And at the moment, we'll wait and see. But I do see that you've said that you've had 25 cases in the last week or so. Please have a look at your local. I remember when you had the big outbreak in the monastery. The convent over in Zakynthos, where they confined all the nuns in there, and you could say we had 15, 16 odd cases, and you knew that they were there in there and they were confined and everything else. But on the other hand, when you say you've got 25 cases, what do your hospital stats say? How many people went to the hospital for treatment and were confirmed treated at the hospital? So this is the thing. These numbers can be open to interpretation and they can be used to fuel the fan to keep us in a further lockdown. And at the moment, we've done 101 days in lockdown and we're just getting a bit sick of it at the moment. Businesses are going down the pan. People are losing jobs. People are losing livelihoods. People are not getting a furlough like you get furlough payments in the UK. Please remember that. And this could be the reason why crime is on the upgo, is because people are taking advantage or people are desperate of the situation. So please, when you look at the stats in the paper, don't just look straight away at the number that's there to grab the headlines. Start looking around at the other information about the hospitals, who has reported to the hospitals, who has gone sick and who has been treated. And don't forget, they have a get out clause on these figures, which is under investigation. We've got 20 cases under investigation. All right. So again, please don't take the figures at face value. Please do your own bit of research. Get wise to the media. Get wise to what's going on. There's an agenda here. And also remember this, a lot of the news that is released here in Greece is government fed news. All right. The government still runs its own news media outlets, its news media, and you have to start looking at some of the independent news channels here, as well as the government, and obviously look between the two. All right, they can get a bit politicised when you start looking at it, it becomes a political thing, but at the end of the day, don't take everything at face value. You've got to remember, this country still had a junta for many, many years who controlled every aspect of life here in Greece. And I think people tend to forget that. And when it comes to press freedom and the media, why still has nothing been said about Mitsotakis' little luncheon agreement? Nothing. The rest of the press has done it. As far as the mainstream Greek media has done, nothing's been said. It's not been reported. It's not been analysed in any way. But it has been by the independents. So again, just please don't take everything at face value. Please do your own bit of research and look into those figures as well. Right, Mark Brabham, Raffridge, friend of mine, tuned in as well. Nice to see you here. Hope everything's good with you. Marty Holsworth, oh, lovely to see you as well, Marty. Again, Gene Baker's actually come up with a thing. There has been questions asked for a long time about the official numbers, often more than reported. Thank you for that, Gene. I'm so pleased that you said that. because that is so true. And again, I'm going to be banging on my drum there, and I think Mr. Thing will be saying I'm preaching again. But again, thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Dave Bowen is watching. John Clifford says, morning Coldwell, too hot here, almost tropical. Is it true snow has been forecast for Macardo? I don't know if it's been forecast for Macardo, but it is cold at the moment, and we have got a bit of snow on the hill behind us. I showed that at the beginning of the broadcast, so you never know. I don't think it's going to settle, though. We've got what I would call, it may have come in the middle of the night and gone again, you know, that kind of phase. Anyway, Tim Crystal, the old Elvis buddy, tuning in as well. Nice to see you. As well, Gene's going on about, just read 39 cases in Kef plus 2 in Ithaca in the last week. Yeah, 39 cases. Where are they in the hospitals? Where are they in the news department? Check your newspapers again. I'll keep going on to that. All right. Also, Delia says the lyceums are still doing online lessons. Thank you for that, Delia. They are, but the schools are closed. The lyceums have been doing online lessons ever since. Hang on a minute. The lyceums, are still doing online lessons at the moment. Thank you for that. You're right there. But all the other schools that were opened here in Zakynthos today are closed. And it's nothing to do with virus or anything like that. It's just to do with the weather. A lot of the schools here don't have great heating for the kids. And in fact, one of the rules for the schools being open because of COVID restrictions was windows were to be open in the classrooms, and children were being advised to go with extra layers of clothing to class because it is cold. All right. So again, they've decided to shut the schools to allow the bad weather to pass. Anyway, Paul Bruffy up there in Poros is looking in. Wiggy says, top report as usual, mate. Thank you. John Clifford says, don't eat the yellow snow. Well, to be honest, John, I'd have to go a long way to eat any yellow snow, but thank you for the advice anyway. Christine Wildridge is watching as well. Debbie Jane is watching. Dennis Patrick Carroll is watching as well over there in Cyprus. How are you doing, buddy? Andy Orchard is watching as well. He's over there in London, first line responder. He works for the ambulance service. I don't know how busy you are at the moment with everything that's going on. Susan Waldron is watching. Hillary Watches is watching. This is interesting. Hillary says, we still have a neighbourhood group, which is a closed group, but may be well worth joining if you live in the Alykanas and Katastari, Pigodakia, for updates. So there is I called it a citizens watch or a neighbourhood watch, as we'd call it in English. You'll probably find that on Facebook. And again, it's a closed private group. So obviously you've got to prove who you are before you can join it. And if you might be a Greek who wants to join, I'm sure they'll have Greeks as well as Brit expatriates or foreigners. Go and join it. Keep in touch. And also it's a good way just to make sure people are okay. A lot of people are on their own here at the moment, especially older people who don't have, shall we say, family around them and stuff like that. And with the way things are going, a lot of these people are in isolation, have not really spoken to anybody or had any contact with people. And every day can be a very, very long day for them. So again, thank you for that, Hillary. I do hope that people do actually get in touch, all right? But anyway. Dave Coldwell, he's over in the US. Nice to have you tuning in. Les Hardman, another Raffridge buddy. Nice to see you tuning in as well, fella. John Clifford, Greeks and Nigerians have the longest sex sessions. Yes, John was cut and pasted in my story. He obviously reads the same stuff I read as well. Graham Bint in Australia is tuning in as well. I've heard Melbourne's gone into a very strict lockdown over there at the moment in Australia. So nice to have Graham tuning in. We had a few problems with communications with Australia a few days ago. It seemed the broadcasts were getting muted over there for some reason. Maybe we weren't following the political line of the Australian government or whatever. It doesn't matter though. Anyway, John Clifford says it takes me 2 hours to get over it. Thank you, John, for that one. Gene Baker says there's a surprise relating to the condom story. Of course, Greece will be top on top. Sorry about the pun. Yes, thank you for that, Gene. But I tell you what, it's really interesting. I was saying, well, where's Britain in this survey? Because we haven't even got a look in there. And Jane said, well, at the moment, the birth rate, believe it or not, has gone down. There was a bit of a spike with the first lockdown at the beginning of the year, but since the second and third lockdowns in the UK, they're actually saying the amount of babies has dropped off. It's like everybody's bored with it, everybody else. And, people are just not having children like they were having in the first lockdown when it was all a bit of fun and all a bit of a laugh. And we were all enjoying lockdown. We're all getting paid 80% of our wage and we didn't have to go to work, blah, blah, blah. However, since the second and third and the realities of life are hitting, I think the sex has taken a bit of a back seat there in the UK as it's all doom and gloom. Anyway, Christine Coldwell there watching as well. Nice to see you tuning in, my lovely. I hope everything's good for you where you are. John Clifford says, went out with a Japanese girl. Her name was Hitachi Fanny. She was a ninja warrior. All right then, John. Thank you for that, mate. Patrick Curtin is watching. Jan up the mountain has said, there's no snow here, mate. All right then, fella. That answers that question at the beginning of the broadcast. Listen, I'm going to have to go. I've got so many people who are tuning in at the moment. Thank you for tuning in as well. I'm checking so many local online sites to get correct figures. Thank you for that, Gene. Let us know what you know as well. And we'll trade information as well. It's nice that we got contacts over in Kefalonia, as well as obviously here in Zakynthos. Got contacts quite across. Also got to say a quick hello to Greece's daily bulletin board, the lovely Lorraine and Wendy that run that page as well. Don't forget, this show gets put up onto YouTube and is then sent out to various other site areas on YouTube where people can watch an update of the show on there. Once again, please go into YouTube, like and subscribe and like on there as well. I greatly appreciate that. Just trying to grow a bit of a community within YouTube, and it's a great place to go look at past stories, cross-check numbers, cross-check figures and things like that about what's been going on here in Greece in regards to tourism, COVID, and just general life here in Greece as well, for those people who might be thinking about taking the plunge here and coming to live. Right, I'm going to go now because I've blabbered on long enough. Once again, thank you to those people who tuned in to my Northern Soul show yesterday on beachradio.co.uk. I was really shocked at the amount of people chatting away. Also, I've got all your requests all written down for my next show, which I'll be making during the week to be broadcast next week. Also, today, my dance anthem show from Friday on Beach Radio, that's going to go up online as well with a playlist for those people who are asking about the tracks within that. And you can also check those out as well at your leisure. Well, that's it from me. I hope you have a great day. Also here on the island, just be careful with the roads at the moment, especially with the snow that we've had, all right, which is now probably just slush by now as I speak. And I will see you tomorrow morning. You have a good day and I'll catch you later. You take care. Ta-ra.